Hello, Know the Bird here. In this video, I'm going to do a book review on The Lure of the Key by William Wallace, knowledge gathered from some 35 years collecting. I'm not going to open up the book, but I am going to describe it so you get a little bit of an idea of what you would be buying if you do decide to get this book. It is originally published in 2016. It was about 30 pounds then. It doesn't look like it's being published anymore, so if you buy it, you're probably buying it used, and it seems to be going for about $70 US. It's about 140 pages long with lots of photos in it. He tells you at the very beginning, this is not a history book, and it's not a book about the mechanics of locks and keys. He very much is looking at it from a collector standpoint of the artwork involved and the hand crafting of the keys, so the craftsmanship. And he's looking at a very specific period too. He's looking at Middle Ages, pre-machine made keys. So you're looking at like 14th century to 19th century keys. Almost all of them are European. I think there's one Iranian, but very European, 14th to 19th century. And he's looking at like extremely nice examples of craftsmanship, and he's sort of telling some stories along with them. But it's not a book about the history of them, so to speak, and it's not a book about how locks are made or the different types of locks. So just FYI, it doesn't go into that. It does have a lot of really nice pictures of very rare keys. I mean, extremely expensive keys that, you got to be privately wealthy to be considering trying to get something like that. So it's kind of neat to see those. He also has some unusual ones in there that I had never seen before. Like there's some antique lockout keys. There's a puzzle lock that looks like a key, but it's actually a lock that accepts a key, which is kind of neat. There's some pistol keys, so keys that could actually shoot. And also there's some reference to a lock that would have shot anybody who tried to pick it. He talks about Chamberlain keys. I don't know if I said the lockout keys. Yeah. And there's actually one key in here he shows that is from the wife of the man that the county I live in Virginia is named after, Fauquier County. So that's kind of interesting too. He has a little bit where he covers like Brahma, Chubb, Hobbes, Solomon Henry, but he doesn't really go into a lot of detail. For him, those are they're more of like, well, for Brahma, Chubb, and Hobbes, they're newer ones, so they're more machine made than what he's looking at. And for Solomon Henry, I think it's a very practical improvement, but it's not necessarily like an example of like fine craftsmanship. So that's just, I guess, something to be aware of. And then at the very end, he goes over some maintenance tips, some of which I think are interesting, and I'm going to try. I live in Virginia where it's super humid, so he mentioned some things I'd like to try with the keys I have, and some of which I've actually heard like conflicting things. I've heard people say, don't do that. So I don't know. But that is sort of the summary of the book, so you have some idea of what you're getting into. It is a little pricey, and I know not everybody's going to want to spend that. If you're interested in some other resources, if you're looking at like, hey, where can I see some really neat keys like this, but I don't want to drop $70 right now, I'll put links in the description so you can check it out. But you can see metmuseum.org. You can check out Hans Schell collection. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. That's, I think, Austria. But they have like an online museum you can sort of go through and see a lot of cool locks. If you're in Europe, then that looks like a place you'd definitely want to check out. There's also a couple of books that are like antique books that are extremely expensive, but in the public domain, so you can see them online if you're interested. Former master locksmiths and their best work is one of them, and the other one is a reproduction of illustrations of ornamental metalwork forming the art of the locksmith. And both of those are free in the public space, and you can download them as PDFs online. So I'll put links to those if you want to check them out. And I think that's it. I don't want this to be too long. It's already longer than I meant. So that's my review of The Lure of the Key. It is, to me, this is an art book. I'm going to leave it out. I've got the little page marked for Fauquier County, so people around here can be like, oh, that's our county, and see a little history about something. Um, but yeah, I'll stop there and shut up. Thanks for watching. Bye.